All right, so this is hypnosis skills for social media success. Like we covered, it is a class on social media. If you're in the wrong room, you can leave. I won't be offended. It's okay. My goal with today's class is to show you how, as hypnotists, you already have everything that you need to be successful on social media. And I'm going to take you through 3 hypnosis strategies that you're already very good at, that you already use all of the time with your one-on-one clients, and we'll bridge those over into your simple social media roadmap. Sound good? Okay. If we haven't met, I'm Elizabeth Sterling. I'm a hypnotist, just like you. Technically, I am not a social media guru or like a marketing expert. I just have had lots of success in getting clients from social media, and I am very passionate about seeing more hypnotists on social media. It's like a side goal that I would love to be able to grab anybody's phone, open any app, and in like 3 swipes find a hypnotist. Any ideas for why that is?
More that they're successful.
Well, I'm sure that's true too, Jason. But y'all, we have what people need. Social media needs what you have, right? Social media, especially for those of you who have kind of that hate relationship with it, I'm sure we could agree, social media needs more hope. It needs more play, more imagination. It needs this tangible help. Like what we do actually helps people. So let's jump right in.
So those were swipes right, not swipes left.
That's Tinder. That's a different class. We won't be covering that today.
Later.
Yeah. No, I do not do so. But I could help you. Okay, so like I said, I love to co-create. I do want this to be really actionable and relevant for you. So anytime, raise your hand, jump in. I would love to start and ask you all, when you want to engage somebody in hypnosis, what's the very first thing that you need? Building rapport, super important. Yes, even before that. Sure. What's the very first thing that you need when you want to engage someone in hypnosis? Connection. That's important. That's like rapport, right? Even before that. That's true. Yes, you need the confidence that you can do it. Yes, definitely. Although you kind of can get that sometimes in doing it, right? So you need their attention. Oh.
Social media profile.
Well, yes. You do need to exist. You need their attention, right? So that very first step is going to be capturing their attention, because without attention, there is no hypnosis. And it's the same on social media, right? You could have the most life-changing, transformational content, which we just covered that as hypnotists you do. But if somebody scrolls right by it and they don't hear it and they don't read it, it's not doing either of you any good, right? So let's talk about some of the ways that you capture or keep your client's attention in sessions. How do you do that?
Session or on social media?
In session. Listen. Yes, huge. That gains that rapport, right? When you're interacting with a client, how do you capture their attention for hypnosis? You ask them questions and you listen to their answers. Anything else? That's true, right? That's gaining that rapport. Yeah, there's lots of ways, right? So one of the main ways that I love to start with is pattern interrupts, because like I was saying, Melissa Tears is my mama. And pattern interrupts, when somebody is scrolling social media, they're already in a trance, right? They're in a deep scrolling trance. You have to do something that's going to stop that scroll, that's going to capture their attention. Pattern interrupts is a great way to do it. There's a lot of ways that you can utilize pattern interrupts on social media. You've already said it, asking a question. You can jump into the juiciest part of a story, right? Utilizing their words that you've gathered beforehand so that they hear something that makes them stop and say, wait, this is related to me. Movement is a great pattern interrupt. You'll see lots of people like moving the camera at the beginning or using editing tools and stuff like that. Eye contact. Has anybody made a video Good. I love it. Has anyone made a video? So I did this, and I would get comments that were like, why are you just staring at yourself? So when you make your videos, there is an actual camera dot that you have to look at instead of yourself, so that it feels like you are making eye contact with the person that's watching your video, right? And a really great thing to do, like I meant to say this at the beginning, this class is not platform specific, but I am going to lean towards talking about video content. That's the bulk of the content that I create, and it's also the fastest and easiest way to gain rapport, okay? So when you're making your videos and you're looking in that green dot, I want to normalize for a minute that it's normal to feel a little bit awkward. It's not a natural relationship to have a relationship with the camera, right? But because you're all hypnotists, you get to utilize your amazing, beautiful imagination and imagine that you're talking to your best friend or your favorite client, right? And as I imagine the face of someone that I love talking to, my unconscious works for me and it rearranges all of my tone, my facial expression, my body language, my emotion. I'm engaged. I'm interested. It's someone that I want to talk to. And all of that comes through, right? So leaning in to using your skills as a hypnotist, to using your imagination and your play as you're creating your content. If you are engaged, if you're interested, if you're having fun, then people who are watching your content are going to be engaged, they're going to be interested, and they're going to be having fun. Sound good? Yes. Okay. So, any other questions on capturing attention? There's lots of ways to do it, right? But just think about as you start consciously consuming social media, um, and your unconscious can help you here, right? Ask your unconscious to partner with you and start to pay attention to what you pay attention to. As you're on social media, start to notice what captures your attention. Where do they kind of lose you, right? And you'll start to store all of that information and you can infuse that into your content, right? Okay, so we've captured people's attention. Now, what's next? We already said it. Gaining rapport, almost. Gaining rapport, yes. Okay. Do I get to take that now? Thank you. Appreciate you so much. Gaining rapport. Yes. So as hypnotists, we all know how important rapport is, right? Some even go as far as to say that rapport is like the number one driver of your client's positive results over any skill or technique. So I would love to hear from you all. When you are in rapport with someone, what do you feel? What do you associate with being in rapport? Likeness? That you're similar or that you like them? Yeah. Yeah. What did you say? There's a connection. There's an energy connection. Yeah. Right? When we're in rapport with somebody, we feel like they care, right? We feel like we can trust them. We feel like they're human. They understand us, right? And I really look at every single piece of content that I make as that rapport building journey. I hear from so many hypnotists, like we said at the beginning of class, who are not huge fans of social media, have really strong opinions of it. And you get to keep those if that's what you want to do. But let's take social media out of this box of like being this huge monolith. Somebody was ranting last night about Meta. Let's take it out of that for a moment. All the platforms, all the billions of people, all the techniques, all the overwhelm, and like bring it back to what it was really meant to be. Social media is about being social. It's about relationship building, right? And as hypnotists, you're already good at this. You're already good at gaining rapport because I feel really confident in assuming that everyone here cares. Is that fair? I know that's not true. You're not sure. So let's boil down gaining rapport on social media. I boil it down to sharing yourself and then active listening. We've already talked about asking questions and listening, right? So let's start there. I utilize questions on social media in the same way that I utilize them in my one-on-one sessions. Everywhere. I'm just sprinkling questions out everywhere to see where it takes. I put questions in my stories, in comments, in the videos that I'm making. Any chance I can, I survey my audience, I put up polls, because I want to hear from the people that are engaging with me. I want to know what's most helpful to them, right? And as I'm asking those questions, not only am I gathering that information, but I'm creating that relationship. And that is the foundation of why I'm on social media, right? So then sharing yourself. There's quite a spectrum when it comes to sharing yourself on social media. And I have played pretty far into the extremes of it. I would love to know, by a show of hands, is there anyone here who has a little bit of hesitation when it comes to sharing yourself and maybe people that you know in real life seeing you and consuming your content a little bit, just a little bit? Okay, I hear that a lot. Oh, overshare. Right. About your kids not wanting to talk to you? Okay. Yes.
I'm going to share my thought process. That how people are going to judge you.
Right.
So what if I do something not professional or something not right? It's just that I think there's
Totally.
an inner fear of not looking good.
Yeah. 100%. Does anybody else relate to what Hannah said? Yeah.
Like the world says to be authentic,
Mm-hmm.
but then when you are authentic, you criticize and judge and so
Right.
she was saying.
You feel that? Yeah, yeah. Totally. Well, that's true. Yeah. It's definitely going to happen. So exactly. They're not going to be your people, right? Yeah, when I started on social media, it was about a year before I became a hypnotist, and I just wanted to start helping dancers. So I just started sharing what I had learned through my journey of being a dancer. But I actively hid it. I did not want anyone who knew me in real life to know that I was posting on social media, because I didn't want anyone to think that I was trying to be an influencer, or that I knew what I was talking about. I was super terrified of judgment and the way that I was going to be perceived. So I kept it on the down low, and I didn't let anybody know what I was doing. At the time, I was just sharing on Instagram and YouTube. And I never went on Facebook. It was only connected to people I knew in real life, only connected to the people that I knew from high school or church or stuff like that. And one day I went on Facebook, and I don't even remember what it was for, but somehow Instagram and Facebook had connected, and not the feed posts, but the stories. And I opened up. You can see who's viewed your stories. And I opened it up, and there was 90 people have viewed my stories, and I just I melted into the earth, and I was like, oh my god, this person saw it, and this person saw it. This is not for you. Why are you watching this? Yes.
Was this a post about your dancing or your hypnosis?
Well, this is before I was a hypnotist, but I was helping with affirmations and visual. I basically was a hypnotist. I just didn't know it yet, but it was for dancers, yeah. And I just had a total meltdown. I was freaking out, and I was frantically trying to figure out how to unhook whatever had hooked up.
This is your Instagram page, not your fans only page.
Pick up. You out.
I was wondering the same thing.
Out.
You're teaching us today how to use only.
Kinder class, OnlyFans, guys. This is not this class. Okay, so I thought that I unhooked it, right? I was like, oh my God, I got to unhook this. I thought I unhooked it, came back the next day, it was hooked up again. I'm not super techie, so I was like, okay, I guess if I'm going to be sharing myself, like I have to be a grown up, I have to be an adult and like really face this. And so I just started blocking people manually. I was like, not for you, not for you. And I did. I blocked like 5 people for like a week. Social media, sharing yourself on social media, sharing yourself in any capacity is incredibly vulnerable, right? And so then when we start to take it out to social media, where you are going to reach people that you don't want to reach, right? And you never know, and you don't have control over that if you want to also reach people that you want to reach. So I tell people that social media it's like a very fertile ground for self-development. But you have to know yourself and know your boundaries, right? Because you don't want to, sometimes the advice is just like, you just got to get outside your comfort zone, just like push, do it. And that is great advice. And then sometimes you might push and then rubber band back and like not go on social media for 4 months. Also done that. So when it comes to sharing yourself, as I said, I've played far into the realms of sharing things that, like maybe I wasn't ready to share with so many people that have their opinions. But that authenticity is the key. And you can be authentic in a way that feels still safe for your nervous system and for you, right? Because as we were saying when I was talking about filming that video and imagining who you're talking to, you can talk about what you do for people, right? How you know their problem, how you know their solution, how you help your clients in an anonymous way. And you can share that from your authenticity, from your place of being so passionate about what you do and how you can help people. And then it's your choice. I mean, it's all your choice what you share on social media. And you'll never know the full scope of your reach, right? So the truth is, you are going to reach people who don't agree with you. You're going to reach people who misunderstand you. You're going to reach people who might get really offended at something that you share. But the converse of that is also true. You're going to reach people who feel so seen by you in a way that they've never felt seen. You're going to reach people who need exactly what you have in the way that only you can share it. I have people reach out and tell me that I've changed their life and I've never worked with them. It's always incredibly humbling. And it wasn't until I started doing consult calls, which was just a year ago in the spring, and I would get on these consult calls with people I'd never met, and they would say things, because I would ask them, how did you find me? And they would say things like, I feel like I've had coffee with you every morning in your kitchen. I just feel like you know me. You speak my language. And these aren't the regular commenters. They're not people I've ever met before, but they're coming in and they already have this massive rapport. They already feel like I love them and care about them and I'm here for them, right? That's right.
No, I just.
We'll get
so
there.
endearing and delightful, and you're so open-hearted, and I'm like, so the people in church need to see that. Like, there's nothing you're saying that should be scary.
Let's not get into that right now.
Sweet.
Let's not get that. Here's the deal. Yeah.
So, when you see a post, is it important? What's more important, liking it or sharing it?
There's a lot of feedback on that, and in general, like some people will say right now that sharing is like the biggest driver, but honestly, any engagement is engagement. I don't rank engagement. I'm just there to connect with people.
Are you currently posting mostly on
Instagram and YouTube are my main. Yeah.
And is it driving business to a website?
Yeah. I don't. Many people don't go to my website. Again, to go back to like my consult calls when I ask people where they found me, it's through social media, and they go straight from my direct messages to a booking link. Personally, yeah.
Do you have your booking link on your Instagram?
I don't anymore because I had interactions that weren't like the most what I wanted.
Professional.
Correct. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. The question was, where am I at, which is mostly Instagram and YouTube, and then am I sending people to a website? And personally, I'm not. You can, but a lot of people come through my direct messages to my booking link or to my group sessions. Yes. Okay. All right. Let's see. Okay. Let's see where we're at. No, we got that. We captured their attention. We're gaining rapport. That's an ongoing journey. Let's talk about this last point because it'll feed great into this. So you've captured their attention. You're gaining rapport. That's an ongoing journey. Every single thing that you share is that relationship building. I'm on social media to get to know people, to help people, and then it also feeds my business, which is great. That final step is going to be inspiring people to action. So this is where we can talk about how I get people to my booking link. So anybody who's listened to any marketing has probably heard the term CTA, yes, call to action. So this is the area that I struggled with the most. I really resisted ever using CTAs because, well, no, I didn't want to be seen as like telling people what to do, right? I still had like fears about people thinking that I think I know what I'm talking about. And I don't know, has anybody ever had a fear of being like salesy? Yeah. I didn't want to like cheapen my heartfelt, meaningful posts with a CTA. I was making this because I care about people. Like, hello. And that was great. Like I was still getting plenty of interaction. I was spending hours and hours helping people in the direct messages, and everybody came to see me as like a really great friend. Super encouraging, super inspiring, but they weren't paying me. So the way that this shifted for me, well, there's actually two ways that this shifted. One is realizing that inspiring people to action, like we're hypnotists, like this is what we do, right? This is what we do with our clients, right? Whether you're helping your clients become more aware of what their problem is and how it's affecting them and what would happen if nothing were to change, or you're helping your clients become more aware of like what they want, right? What's their dream? How can they step into it? What will they feel? Who will they be from that place? And then from those places, when people are connected to their desires, they're connected to their dreams, they're connected to who they're doing this for. From that place, action is easy. So when you're able to come from that place of inspiring people to take steps forward towards the life that they want, whether that is booking a call with you, or it's simply like picking an affirmation or an intention for their day, right? Oftentimes, I utilize in Instagram stories, which we can get more into specifics, polls with affirmations or intentions, and I'm always blown away by people that come back around and tell me that picking this affirmation did this for them, that this influenced their day, that these affirmations mean so much, and then this is what happened. Again, totally humbling, but you're helping them in all of these micro moments, inspiring them to take action, inspiring them to think differently, to ask themselves questions that they may have never asked themselves before. And then when they're ready to work with someone, they're going to think of you because you've already helped them, right? And then the other way that this really shifted for me was realizing that people on social media are swimming in a sea of overwhelm. There's so much out there and there's so much content. It's probably quite similar to how you feel about all the marketing advice, right? And wouldn't you just love it if somebody was like, here, this is what you should do. Just do this. Yes, exactly. And so when you get really specific and you share that next step with them, whether it is commenting, messaging you, clicking on your link, picking affirmation, you're helping them, right? And you're like serving it to them on a platter. And it is their choice. It's always their choice whether to take it or not. So you don't ever have to worry about coming across as pushy. You are serving them, you're helping them. When I launched my first group program, I gave myself 7 days to fill it, which hindsight, maybe a little bit longer would have been a good idea. And I got somebody on the first day. And I was like, yes, it's working, it's working. I like Marco Polo'd Lori Hammond. I don't know if y'all know. I was like, it's working, I got somebody. And then 6 days went by. It's the night before the program starts. It's supposed to be a group program. I have been emphasizing the community aspect, and I have one person. And I Marco Polo Lori again, and I'm like, oh my God, what do? I've been talking about the community aspect. Like, do I refund her? Do I apologize? What do I do? And Lori was great. You know, she said, just imagine what I want that one woman to feel. It wasn't the answer that I was looking for. So then, like that evening, I sat in my car for a minute and like did a little tiny meditation. And then I went and I looked at who had opened the email and clicked on the link. And then I went and personally invited all of them. It was a huge edge for me because I never wanted to be the person who's like in your direct messages like, hey, buy my stuff, right? So I went and I messaged those people. I filled 8 spots in like 6 hours. And the most wild thing was that 3 of the people who joined from that invitation thanked me for inviting them. I was blown away, right? They said things like, oh, I've been looking at this, but I didn't know if it was for me. Oh, thank you so much for inviting me. I really wanted to work with you, but I wasn't sure where to get started. Y'all, like I have links. I feel like I talk about what I do, but there's a lot of people out there who are watching things and they're feeling like maybe this isn't for me, or I don't know where to get started. And I'll get to your question in just a second, but I would love to see by a show of hands who here has ever been inspired by something, motivated, laughed at any piece of content, and then not liked or commented or followed or shared. Anybody? Yeah, that's right. Yeah, there's a lot of silent watchers out there. I work now to like actually go back and do things because I want to encourage people who are sharing themselves. But you'll never know. You'll never know who's watching you. You'll never know the full scope of your reach. Yes. Sure. Yes. Right. Right. Great. So that's from my email list, right? So I have my social media, mostly on Instagram and YouTube. I'm directing people all the time to join my email list. I learned a lot on that group launch. Like, I think I only sent out 2 emails. And so when you send out an email, you can go and you can look at who's clicked on the links. So I went and looked at who had viewed the program. And then I went back over to social media because I already had a relationship with all of those people. Well, not all of them, but, and I reached out to them individually. That makes sense? Yeah.
How much time do you spend reading posts? And how many times do you post?
Well, that's a great question. Okay. So in the not too distant past, I was posting 5 times a week. So every day during the week and taking weekends off. In the last, I don't know, 4 or 5 months, I've drastically reduced my posting just because my life has taken over with other things. And that's the thing. You get to make social media work for you. Yes, the more that you post, the more engagement you're going to get, the more clients you're going to get. That's always true. But you have to figure out what's a good rhythm for you, what's something that feels good and consistent for you, and then know that life happens. Yeah, I do batch. I've played with scheduling. It's not my favorite. I'm a very spontaneous person. Personally, anytime that I have taken somebody else's marketing template and worked to utilize it, it cuts off my flow of creating content. everybody's going to find a different process and flow that works for them. But when I'm trying to follow marketing advice and I'm trying to follow like launch advice and like, then I get stuck in my head. I'm like, well, I can't post this until I posted that. And I can't say this because yesterday I said that. Personally, for me, I just like to flow with what is present in the moment and share it. And I've played with being more strategic. I haven't personally noticed like a huge difference because majority of my clients and the people who join my groups, like even on my groups, I had a group last week and I asked people like what's their intention, what they want to get out of it, why they joined. So many people are like, it's your energy. I just want to be in your energy. I could just listen to you read from a phone book or whatever. Like a group session, like an online group hypnosis session. Yeah.
I was asking, how long does it take you to create the post? Like if you
Right.
do a YouTube post, like 30 seconds, you spend. I would take all day.
Right.
Or my daughter would do it for me.
Yeah.
That's my issue. My issue is I don't want to spend the time doing it, and
Yeah.
whenever I find someone who will do it, it's super expensive. It's not even close to.
Yeah. I can't give you a quantified time because I mean, I have played with tracking my time, but like that was a while ago and stuff has changed since then. Like I said, I sit down, well, I make videos pretty often because I just jump on Instagram stories and talk about whatever's alive for me in that moment. And then a lot of times I'll download the stories without anything on it. And then I bring it over into an editing software. I use CapCut and I create my shorts from that. When I do YouTube videos, when I do long form content, I do batch it. I take a whole day to script out what I'm going to say with bullet points, and then I take a whole day so that I've filmed 6 videos in one day, and then I have an editing day, and then I post. I don't have anyone helping me yet, but one day that would be great. Yeah. No, you're good.
No, I was just gonna say 2 points. I learned this, I think through Russell Brunson, but basically, really important
Mm.
understood why.
Yeah.
So I think
Mm.
manage those
Mm-hmm.
lists and how you patch out your as far as editing, Jason's point, not always how you can do it,
I'm
but
sure
there's
that's
like
true.
Fiverr Rough low production is out.
Rough.
Rough videos with low production.
Yeah, so okay. So I want to talk to 2 of these points. Okay, one is, yeah, he's talking about, he just said having an email list. And I definitely agree with that. To go back to what I was saying before is like initially I just started sharing because I wanted to share. And then I was loving building relationships, but I had no structure set up to the business. I wasn't constantly telling people what I did or how I could help them. And I was spending a lot of my time helping people for free. I don't regret it because I learned a lot. I built a lot of relationships and amazing rapport. That's a lot of those people did become clients. A lot of them didn't. But setting yourself up with a structure and knowing that you want to present yourself, is it Heather? Yeah, go back to your question at the beginning. Knowing that you want to present yourself as a business is important. And that's why I wouldn't recommend mixing personal and business. I don't have personal anymore. I just do business, but I do business very personally. So it's a little bit of both. But having your structure set up, knowing where you want to send people, because also, like, if you do have a piece of content that takes off, which I had a couple of times, with no structure, I had that rubber band effect. I got completely burnt out. I was like drowning in direct messages, and I didn't have the structure set up of where to send people. So yes, having an email list, having a link. I keep all of my links now like on my notes app on my phone so I can just grab them and drop them into direct messages. What was the other thing? The editing. Yeah, right. Okay, let's take this for a second. I've been working with hypnotists one-on-one with social media and like actually going to them in person, helping them extract content ideas and like coaching them on creating videos. And I notice a lot of them like are very concerned about being professional in the videos. Anybody? Listen, people don't want perfection. Perfection is not relatable. They are looking to connect you as a human. I told this story somewhere yesterday. I don't remember where, but I was getting interviewed by a psychologist the other day live on Instagram, and he has Asperger's, so he's very blunt. And he was like, Elizabeth, you cry all the time on your social media. How are you so vulnerable? And I was like, I do not cry all the time. Okay. But the truth is, yeah, I'm pretty vulnerable. I share stuff. I've cried. I've never done it strategically, okay? I share myself. And again, you have to find your spectrum of what feels good for you. But in that sharing, that's where I get people that are like, oh my God, like you speak to exactly what I need. Like you understand me. You get where I'm coming from. And it builds that massive, massive rapport. And when it comes back to editing, like, recently, I just love to like take the little clips that I make and I push them all into CapCut. I do auto captions, and then I can visually see the gaps of like where maybe I paused or I odd or I ummed, and I just clip them out. That's probably another class, but yeah, like your editing doesn't have to be perfect. Your like nothing has to be perfect. People just want to connect to you, and they want to connect to the idea that you can help them, which you can. Like this is the main thing I want everyone to take away from this class. You're freaking hypnotists. Okay, you have like the coolest job in the world. Have you ever told anybody what you do and they haven't had a reaction? Yeah, right. And then like it actually helps people like massively. Who here has had their life changed by hypnosis? I was in a group the other day of a bunch of hypnotists, and I mentioned that I was presenting at the Jacqueline's marketing thing online. And there was like 4 people that were like, oh my God, I can never do that. I can never be a public speaker. Yeah, neither am I. Like I never ever in a million years would imagine myself as a public speaker. I was always the shyest, quietest person. Like speaking at the family dinner table, my voice would do the this thing, right? Hypnosis. It works. Imagine that. Right? So when you come to make content and you start to come up against those things about worrying about people judging you or people criticizing the authentic you, which is the worst one to feel criticized about, you lean into your why. Why are you on social media? What's your message? What do you want people to take away from your content? What do you want people to feel from interacting with you? And when you lean into that why, and you lean into the potential that you have, I know this sounds really big, but like to actually change the world because social media blasts your messages out. I'm constantly humbled by messages that I get from people around the world. And again, they might not have even been my client, but to know that I'm having a positive impact, when I lean into that, it makes it much easier to deal with people who have strong opinions because you know that you're just stirring it up. What hypnosis does anyway. We just like shake it up. We never know when it's going to land, where it's going to land, where it will take root, how long it will take. But even when people have those strong opinions, and I've said this in other classes and I'll say it again, if you start sharing yourself on social media and you come up against that, like I'm here, direct message me. I've experienced it and I wish that I had somebody that I could reach out to. So if you ever deal with that, let's talk, okay? But know that you're helping them too. Like you're just stirring it up, right? I want to make sure that I answered your question. Right. There is, and I've played with that. There's a tool called ManyChat that Like if somebody direct messages you a word or even comments a word, like it will automatically send something that you've pre-written for them. And I've played with that, like when I was getting really inundated and I was avoiding my message box because it was too much for me. I played with ManyChat. Personally, I love direct interaction at this stage. It really depends on where you're at. And I really recommend people, like if you're at an early stage, to get in there and to be having those conversations with people, because it's going to give you so much information and it's going to help you build that relationship. It's kind of like social media has done this whole thing, right? And it used to be like all the influencers and all the perfection and everything. And like nowadays, people, are you going to, I mean, maybe you will, I don't know. Are you going to direct message Beyonce? Yeah? You're gonna think that she's gonna respond to you?
She has people that respond to all direct messages.
Exactly. Probably not, right? But when people ask, you have her home phone number?
We're like this.
When people actually get a response from you, it's huge, right? Personally, like it's fast for me. I love doing voice messages because I speak faster than I type. And the amount of times that people are like, oh my God, thank you for sending me a voice message. Like I feel so special. I love that. You are special. Thank you. But again, you have to take it from where you're at and what your time is and what's going to feel right to you. Because I want to go back to this idea that the like not having time and the hating it, because as I've started to work with hypnotists on this, if you're in a place where like you hate creating content and you can't think of what to say and it's like a constant uphill battle, I'm just gonna say like you might be in the wrong niche, right? Like I don't know, like personally, if I'm passionate about something, I could talk about it forever. And I could talk about hypnosis forever. I get real excited talking about hypnosis and somatics and like neuroscience. It's like every day there's something new to talk about. And so I like to direct people from thinking about like, oh, what's going to make people buy and what's the right way to like get people to sign up for my stuff, and lean a little bit more into like, what are you passionate about? What makes you come alive? What makes you really excited about being in this field? What's your favorite client? And like, what happened for them? And like, because I mean, okay, right? I was talking about this last night. You know, like when you work with a client, every single time I work with a client, well, most times, it's like the coolest thing ever. And like the things that come out of their brains and the transformations that they have, I just get so jazzed. I'm like, this is the coolest job ever. And that energy is what translates to people. It's what makes them feel like, well, even the people who are like, God, hypnosis, witchcraft, what the? And I've had lots of that. But they get interested. They're like, this, you're telling me that this person had this transformation? Okay, I want to hear more, right? Okay, so where are we at? Questions. How are we feeling?
Do you do any text replacement and just type in a few letters that have an auto respond?
I have done that. Yeah. Like on Apple, you can set up where like you type in a word and it autofills. I've done that. Yeah. Again, it just depends on where you're at. What's that? I don't know. I haven't. I don't know what that is. 1 second. Yes. Yeah, that's a great question. And the place that I go with this, because I've talked to lots of hypnotists that loop on what platform to be on and like where's their audience. Thank you. I truly believe that there's an audience for you everywhere. That's what I believe. So you got to figure out like which platform feels best to you, which feels the easiest for you to make content in, which one do you connect to the most. Instagram's where I started. I love Instagram. This year, I'm leaning more energy into YouTube because it feels better for me lately, and I just follow that. I mean, but I really like, everybody's everywhere. If you are being authentic, if you are leaning into your passion and what makes you come alive, you're going to magnetize the people that are for you, and they're everywhere.
So, and hashtags or titles.
Yeah.
So do you keep the same hashtags or do you change the titles?
I don't do hashtags. Yeah, well, hashtags really don't matter anymore. They really don't. I spent a lot of time doing hashtags back in the day. They might have mattered a little bit. I think it's a waste of time, personally. Yeah. That it goes live. That would be probably great because then people would know when you're going live. Again, I'm very spontaneous. I don't. I've played with and I've gone through seasons where I have things really scheduled and I have things really batched. You're all meeting me at a time in my life where I'm just doing whatever I'm doing in the moment. And I do recommend that, like, when you're starting, make a commitment to yourself of what hits your edge of making content and just commit to it for 30 days. You can change it at the end of 30 days, but you will be amazed at what you will see if you are consistent like that. I do, yeah. I'm random, yeah. At the moment, I just. I'm at the whole point everywhere. So the whole point, whole as in Whole Foods, and then point with the E at the end is a point shoe. That's a ballet thing. Yeah, I would say, like, at the moment, I probably only go live like maybe twice a month. I'm not doing it as much as I used to. So my main method right now, but again, find what works for you, is I get on Instagram stories really often. That's where I just share whatever I'm thinking about in the moment. I download it. Then if it's good, I send it into my CapCut and I create a short from it. I share it on Instagram, which is linked to my Facebook. Now I'm okay with it. And YouTube. That's it for me. Yeah. As a Well, right. Well, so the short form video, I just share as a YouTube short. Yeah, but I do lives too.
So for the most part, do you find that you're connecting with the same people on the different?
There's a range. Like, some people follow me everywhere, but there's definitely different people. Sure. Yeah.
Like, I came back and I don't remember and I'm like starting, so I'm like, content, like, I don't know what I even talk about. Is there something I can watch, like, with you or people like this? Because I think if you guys dog my number, like, oh yeah, I literally went to school 2 years ago.
Yes. Well, I feel you. My life is currently falling apart, which is why I probably, we could talk about it later. I'm not offended at all. You're gorgeous. So, yeah, you gotta, like, ride the waves of life. For me, I'm really grateful that I got into a habit of posting before my life fell apart, but I have pulled way back. Yeah. Yeah.
So, like, then it was like 6 months later, I figured out how to do it online, and then I was like, then my life fell apart. So
Yeah, you know, here's the thing. Life's like no other life. It just keeps lifing, and here we are for it. 1 minute. So social media is a great place for you to share your life. Again, find your comfort level. Just to review as we close class, you've captured their attention, you're gaining rapport, and then you're inspiring them to action. It's the exact same thing that you are doing with your clients. You are just doing it on a larger scale and inviting people to know more about this amazing resource that you have. Thank you for being here. Yes. Okay, per my life falling apart, I did not print out a QR code, but I have one that has the notes for today's class. And also, there's a link on here that you can book a free 30-minute chat. I just love to help hypnotists. And especially as this is a new avenue for me helping hypnotists, you sharing what you need helps me just as much as it helps you.